Welcome back to AgriTalk OnLine, our bonus coverage here at the Farm Progress Show in Boone, Iowa, day number 2. We're broadcasting from the Syngenta tent, and joining us now is Dana Stubbendeck. Want to talk a little bit about what's really a growing problem, I guess. We've talked about it for a number of years, and kind of an invisible problem as well for growers, and that when we're talking about nematodes. And Dana, let's talk about that. I mean, I think a lot of times farmers have more damage or more loss from nematodes maybe than they realize. That's why it's so important to be checking for that. First of all, let's start with just what are nematodes and what problems do they cause?
Yeah, nematodes are microscopic roundworms that basically survive in any type of soil, and they've been around for years. Started with the native prairie grasses, so they probably haven't been as well known of a problem historically because they are microscopic. You can't see them. A lot of times, the damage that they're doing, you don't see any above ground symptoms, or if you do, they mimic a lot of other things that you might see, like compaction, fertilizer deficiency, etc. So in recent years, the reason that they become a growing problem is probably 3 things. Number one, they're very sensitive to soil disturbance. So the more minimum till and no-till acres that we're having here are a very hospitable environment for them. Number 2, with more corn on corn acres and continuous corn, that's a very hospitable environment for them too because they continue to thrive. Although there's many corn nematodes that do survive on other crops like soybeans. And the third thing would be a lot of the organophosphate and carbamate chemistries that were used in the past actually had some activity on corn nematodes. Those are really no longer used anymore. They've been replaced by pyrethroid chemistries, which are safer, but they don't have any activity on nematodes. And also the advent of traits like the rootworm trait, replacing in-furrow insecticides.
So it's kind of become a perfect storm then for increased nematode activity. And I often call nematodes profit robbers.
Absolutely. What we've seen is that the damage that they can do over the course of, and they interact with other environmental conditions as well, like drought stress, heat stress, disease stress, because a lot of times it's not just the nematodes that are feeding on the roots that do the damage, but it creates an entryway for disease and other factors to be a problem. So what we've seen over the last 3 years of testing is that we've seen about a 6 bushel increase in yield over 85% of the acres over time, and that is not versus untreated seed. That's versus Cruiser Extreme 250, which is our insecticide-fungicide combination without the Invicta nematicide. So seen a very, very good increase with the Invicta Complete Corn.
We'll talk about Invicta in just a moment, but first, how does a farmer find out if he has a problem with nematode?
More than likely, the best way to find out is probably doing some soil sampling, but because of the amount of soil samples you'd have to take and the cost of the samples, it's pretty cost prohibitive. So really what they need to look for is some of the fields that show a lot of stress, or maybe have some low spots or some yellow looking corn, but the best way to find out is to plant some Invicta Complete Corn against Cruiser Extreme 250 to really show the advantage that the Invicta nematicide is bringing.
Let's talk about Invicta and what are those advantages?
The advantages of Invicta Complete Corn, a lot of things that we'll see early is a bigger root mass and bigger stalks, and the Invicta is giving you early season protection of nematodes because a lot of your corn yield is determined early, around V3 to V6 stage. It's determining all your kernel rows and those types of things that we're giving you protection early there. So if you're able to protect the corn plant in those early stages, it'll give you more of a yield boost at the end of the year. And the other advantages we're seeing are bigger kernel rows and bigger ears and bigger ear fill, and that in many times is correlating directly to yield.
I think what we're hearing more and more each year is don't count on that corn crop if it gets off to a slow start to be able to catch up or make up later in the year. As you said, you can lose early and never be able to regain that. So that's why it's important to get off to that good start.
Absolutely, yeah, because with the Invicta Complete Corn, you're not only getting nematode control, but you're also getting disease protection from our fungicide package, Maxim, Apron, and Dynasty, and also insect control. So the 3 of those together, it's the first product of its kind as a seed treatment to deliver all 3 of those protection against all 3 of those pests. So if you can do that early, because you can't hit the rewind button and do it over again. So the more you can protect the corn plant early, the better off you're going to be.
And before I let you go, let's talk a little bit about Cruiser Max Bean.
Yeah, Cruiser Max Beans is our market-leading product for soybeans. It contains Cruiser insecticide plus 2 of our fungicides, Maxim and Apron. A lot of the advantages that growers are seeing there is that they're protecting that corn plant early. Number 1, against diseases. It covers all 4 of the major fungal groups like Rhizoctonia, Pythium, Phytophthora, Fusarium, and it also helps protect against seed-borne diseases like Phomopsis and Sclerotinia. So you have the bases covered with early season disease protection to get that plant off to a health, vigorous start. And then you have Cruiser, which is the insecticide portion of Cruiser Max, which gives you not only below-ground insect protection with wireworms, white grubs, etc., but it's also very, very systemic. It's highly water soluble, so you get a lot up into the plant for above ground insect protection against bean leaf beetles and also some aphid protection. So the combination of all those things, plus third, is the vigor, the patented vigor effect that we see with Cruiser. So a lot of times, even in the absence of insects, we're seeing bigger root masses, a bushier plant, quicker canopy, so you can maybe save a application of glyphosate or a herbicide, and that we're seeing a yield increase even in the absence of insects.
A lot of advantages, especially in a very competitive marketplace. People need to take a close look at those advantages that Cruiser Max offers.
Yeah, those are some of the main advantages. There's a lot of other competitors either in the market or entering the market. So number 1, like I mentioned earlier, our water solubility advantage versus some of the other competitive insecticides really gives us an advantage to get more into the plant and give you longer control throughout the season. The other thing is our patented vigor effect. Other neonicotinoid chemistries, actually, you can see some vigor effect from those chemistries, but Cruiser is best in class, and it's been proven all over the globe that this vigor effect can give you a true advantage. And then some of the other competitors, when it comes to the disease package, they have some true advantages, but one area in particular where we have an advantage is Maxim on Rhizoctonia. Some of the other competitors aren't quite as good on Rhizoctonia in particular, so the combination of Cruiser, Maxim, and Apron for Cruiser Max gives us a real advantage in the marketplace.
All right, Dana, thanks a lot. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Dana Stubbendeck with Syngenta. All right, we are providing you some bonus coverage of the Farm Progress Show, day number 2 here in Boone, Iowa. We'll take a break, come back with more. Stay with us on AgriTalk OnLine.